The subsonic missile is typically launched from U.S. Navy ships, and Raytheon, the Tomahawk manufacturer, claims that more than 2,300 Tomahawks have been fired in anger since the missile was introduced into American service. Currently, the most advanced Tomahawk in U.S. service is the Block 4 variant. This Tomahawk is equipped with a data link that allows for on-the-fly retargeting. It also has a long loiter capability, which allows the missile to wait for an opportune time to hit a target. It can also change course on command, keeping a human operator in the loop. Since introduced into service, the Tomahawk has been steadily upgraded, and the new Tomahawks will be even more potent. Here comes the Block 5. In a recent statement, the U.S. Navy announced that the first of the new Block 5 Tomahawk missiles had been received from Raytheon. This is the next big advancement in Tomahawk capability and a major achievement for the program, said Captain John Redd, Program Manager for the Tomahawk weapons system. We're focused now on delivering advanced capability to the fleet by recertifying and modernizing our Block 4 inventory and by contracting production Block 5 missiles. Increased capabilities. Raytheon's Tomahawk Block 5, when fully realized in its Block 5A and Block 5B varieties, will be expected to hit surface ships at Tomahawk ranges in excess of 1,000 miles or over 1,600 kilometers with the integration of a new seeker. It also will integrate a new warhead that will have a broader range of capabilities, including greater penetrating power. Tomahawk's range is especially important in the Asia-Pacific, where China's rocket force has extraordinary reach with its DF-26 and DF-21 missiles, with ranges of 2,490 and 1,335 miles respectively, according to the Center for Strategic and International Studies. The missiles are destined not just for the VLS launchers of surface ships, but also on attack submarines. More survivable. The first iteration of the Block 5 upgrades the missile's communication and navigation systems. This is about making it tougher to counter and detect electronically, said Brian Clark, a retired submarine officer and senior fellow at the Hudson Institute. It has greater electronic hardening to be able to work through jamming more effectively, Clark said. The hardening and the electronic countermeasures they put into it make it harder to find and target with radar, and that improves its survivability. They've incorporated a lot of survivability into Tomahawk over the years. This takes it a step further to make it less susceptible to jamming of its seeker or its communications. But it could perhaps also counter enemy radar that might be used to target it and shoot it down. In 2017, Raytheon's Tomahawk program manager told reporters at an event at the missile plant in Tucson, Arizona, that the navigation system upgrades will ensure the missile can strike targets even if GPS is taken down. There will be a couple-year development effort to determine the configuration of the seeker to go into the missile, then a couple of years to fully vet it out and make sure we accurately know what the system performance is. The missile should be ready for fleet use in the 2022 timeframe, he said. Clearly, Tomahawk has very good communications capabilities, and those are going to be upgraded. It can loiter. It's got tremendous range, said Dave Adams, Raytheon Tomahawk program manager. There is a unique thing about Tomahawk, Adams continued. Every other weapon is limited by power and energy because they are usually battery operated. Tomahawk has its own power generation, so in terms of doing things that require additional power, we have the capability of doing that because it generates its own power. It gives us options. As for the long-range anti-ship missile, LRASM, analysts say in the short term choosing it over the Tomahawk for strike and anti-surface missions might be a mistake, especially given that Lockheed's missile is significantly more expensive. It's not an either-or situation, said Eric Wertheim, a naval analyst and author and editor of the U.S. Naval Institute's Guide to Combat Fleets of the World. You've got one that's tested and tried, and another that isn't tested anywhere near the way that Tomahawk has been. I'd say at the very least, Tomahawk offers a stopgap capability until the new system is fully vetted. The Tomahawk can also serve as part of a high-low mix, Wertheim said, with Raytheon's missile being available for missions that might not need to full capability of Lockheed's missile. Subsonic is a feature, not a bug. With all the emphasis on the supersonic and hypersonic missiles, and with the improvements in air defenses, that might make Tomahawk seem like a fuddy-duddy by comparison. But there are good reasons to keep producing the Tomahawk, even with its slower speeds. The benefit of the subsonic missile is range, Clark said. Being subsonic means it's also able to travel at a more fuel-efficient speed, so the fact that the Tomahawk can travel more than 1,000 miles is a function of the subsonic speed. To get that kind of range out of a supersonic missile, you'd need something much larger. It's cheap. Well, relatively so. The missile has been able to stay at the $1 million price range, which is on the low end for missiles. Raytheon's Supersonic Standard Missile 6 can reach speeds of Mach 3.5, with future iterations believed to be capable of reaching hypersonic speeds, but cost more than 4 times as much per shot and have less range. That's the Tomahawk's key differentiator, said Jerry Hendricks, a retired Navy captain and analyst with Telemus Group. The key capability of Tomahawk is the cost, Hendricks said. It can be purchased in larger quantities, and you can afford to lose some to defense capabilities even as you penetrate. That's one of the reasons why Tomahawk is going to be in the inventory for a while to come, even as it brings back that longer-range anti-ship capability that we've been missing for some time. Tom Carrico, an expert in missile technology with the Center for Strategic and International Studies, agreed that cost is a big advantage of Tomahawk, especially for low-end missions. As long as they can keep them to about $1 million per shot, the Navy's going to want those all day long, Carrico said. The next time the president says to the Navy, hey, go schwack this terrorist training camp, they're going to need Tomahawks. It's all in the mix. The key to thinking about a subsonic cruise missile is understanding how it fits into a mix of weapons, Carrico said. Not everything is going to be hypersonic or even supersonic, nor does it have to be, he argued, but the cost per salvo make it an attractive part of a varied and complex threat to present an adversary. The question is, what's going to be the mix between hypersonic things and things that are supersonic and subsonic, he said. That, I think, is the right question. As long as you have standoff, subsonic and supersonic are going to be part of the equation. Even for the high-end fight, I don't think the hypersonic stuff will fully replace subsonic stuff. It might just mean you shoot your subsonic stuff earlier, let them fly for a while, and everything arrives at the same time as part of how you structure an attack. Clark, the Hudson analyst, agreed that the mix was important, saying that even with the arrival of faster missiles, the Tomahawk has a place. The combination of the Standard Missile 6, which has a surface strike mode, the new 100-plus mile ranged anti-ship naval strike missile bound for the littoral combat ships and next-generation frigate, and the Block 5 upgrades on Tomahawk will give the Navy's venerable birds a place in the service's vertical launch system cells for some time to come, Clark said. Between Tomahawk Block 5, the Standard Missile 6, the Naval Strike Missile, and the LRASM, the Navy has a collection of attack weapons that they are happy with, he said, adding that a long-running effort to develop a next-generation land attack weapon has lost some of its urgency. The development of hypersonic missiles could, however, push out the Tomahawk down the road as the technology gets more advanced and of a size compatible with the Navy's ubiquitous Mark 41 VLS launcher. What's happening in parallel is in the development of hypersonic missiles that are smaller form factor than the boost glide weapons that are coming to maturity now, Clark said. And if they can get it down to being able to fit in the Mark 41, then that could provide the Navy a next-generation capability that's more survivable and has a shorter time of flight. So I think this combination of missiles the Navy has now, combined with the fact that the hypersonic weapons are coming along a little further out, means the Navy is going to stick with what it has potentially even longer than it had originally anticipated.